Hi, everybody. Do you want to know about the certificate in higher education that LSE can offer you in the UK? Well, hi and welcome to our live stream. Obtain your certificate in higher education in Manchester and Birmingham with LSE. My name is Hugo Bustamante. I'm recruitment manager for Global Studies, and you can apply to different institutions in the UK, in Italy, USA, Canada. If you contact us, don't forget that we can help you with a free guidance session to apply to different institutions. You have our data in the screen. You can contact us today, and don't forget to follow us as Global Studies UK in Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, and you will know more about the different options that we have for you. And today, I have the pleasure to have here with me to Vishal Sharma. Hi Vishal, how are you?
Hi Hugo, I'm good. About you?
I'm fine, thank you. I want to let you know that Vishal Sharma is International Marketing Officer, and he will be informing us about the certificate in higher education that LSE has available for us. Please, Vishal, what can you tell us about this option that LSE has for us?
Right. So Hugo, what happens is like obviously we have multiple campuses around in London. We have a campus in Manchester. We also have a campus in Birmingham. But today specifically, we're going to talk about the campus in Manchester and the campus in Birmingham. The next intake for Certificate of Higher Education course is going to be in Jan 2026. It's going to be like a 2-year course. The first year is going to be a foundation year, followed by the second year, which is a Certificate of Higher Education in Business Studies, which is a level 4 course. So in the UK, for people who are not from the UK, potentially, the education is based on different levels. You know, there is a national qualification framework called NVQ levels. You have a level 4, which is equivalent to a Certificate of Higher Education, or equivalent to a higher national certificate, also called it HNC. Then you have level 5, which is a HND, which is a higher national diploma, or a level 5 of your business studies or health and social care, whatever you want to do. And it is also equal to second year of your bachelor's. The first year of your bachelor's is level 4, the second year is level 5, and the third year is level 6. So when you complete your 3 years of bachelor course, you get a bachelor's degree in the UK, which is a level 6 course. Then you have a level 7, which is master's. Then you have a level 8, which is doctorate, PhD, DBA, and stuff like that. A lot of people try to traditionally use the bachelor's degree path, where they just enter the bachelor's course and they study the first year of bachelor's, second year bachelor's, and the third year bachelor's, and they finish it. But that normally is a route for people who have a high school, a GCSEs, an A level in the UK, or a bachiller from Spain or Latin America, or a baccalaureate. So if you have that kind of qualification, you have to show that you speak English and everything is fine, and then you have to apply to universities for year 1 of your bachelor's. Now, that process sometimes could take time. Universities sometimes don't make a decision on you, and also it might be a very difficult a career path or academic path for you to jump straight into the first year of bachelor's, where the university is expecting you with fireworks, and like you should know how plagiarism works, for example. You should know how how to do assignment, how to do research. But these kind of education is the next level of education within the UK education system. So, for example, someone coming from Colombia or Mexico or Peru or Chile, they don't have education which is based on internet research, assignment preparation, where they have to do the research on the internet, prepare a 3,000, 4,000 word essay, and then submit it to the university. Then the university gives them marks. So traditionally in Latin America, in Mediterranean countries like Spain and stuff as well, People study, people go to school, they write, they read, and they learn, and they write the exam, and they get marks. So that's how the education system is designed. So now when someone throws you straight into the first year of education and bachelor's in the UK, it might be a bit overwhelming. There's a language barrier. I mean, English is not your first language, maybe. There's a language barrier. There is a barrier about how should I do the research? I don't know. How should I do the assignments? I don't know. So a lot of time people tend to fail when they try to jump straight into a bachelor's based career path. And that is the reason LSE has designed or partnered with University of Suffolk to prepare a certificate of higher education course. Now, in this course, the first year is a foundation year. So the university is expecting you not to know everything perfectly. It's just like creating a building. You can't create a whole building without creating a strong foundation. So the first year of your course is going to be a foundation year. In the foundation year, you're going to learn about study skills, the skills which you are required to study in the UK, and how you are going to do your assignments, how you're going to do your research, how different kind of referencing is done. We have APA referencing, we have ALA referencing, we have Harvard referencing. So all of those things are going to be taught to you in the foundation year. And you have 1 year to learn how to study and also improve your skills. And then when you finish the first foundation year, you move to certificate of higher education in business studies or health and social care, which is a level 4 course. Once you finish the level 4 course with certificate of higher education, you can continue studying at LSE or one of our partner colleges or universities. Or if you feel like you want to switch and go to a completely different university or move spaces, for example, someone living in Birmingham, Manchester, next year decides to go to Bath or to Bournemouth or to Southampton, they can definitely move and present the new university in Southampton, Bournemouth, Bath, or Bristol that, look, I've got a certificate of higher education level 4. As soon as they put that sort of certificate on the table, students get admission straight on the second year of bachelor's. So that's the reason certificate of higher education is, I mean, this is the idea, how it's designed and how it can be helpful. Now, specifically with London School of Commerce, I'm going to show you the whole route map and the important aspects of the admission process, because we are living in modern day, and information is is your secret weapon. Unless and until you don't have good information about things, you can keep driving yourself to the wall, and there is no output. So I'm going to try to share as much as information from my end. And at the end of presentation, if anybody has any questions, I'm open to take the questions and I'll try to clarify your doubts. And even in the future, after the presentation, if you have any questions, if you can obviously reach out to Ugo or Global Studies, and they would try to, cater all your questions and queries. Okay. So with regards to, I'm just starting the presentation now. So this is the admission guide for specifically for Jan 2025 intake in Manchester and Birmingham campus. Now, to begin with, why you should choose London School of Commerce specifically. We have great locations for everybody. Like, you might have a car, you might not have a car, you might be using a public transport. So it is very important for everybody to have campuses which are not too far from the local public transport hubs, and the connectivity should be easier. So we have campuses which are very, very close to the train station in Manchester and Birmingham. So connectivity is never going to be an issue. We have a very flexible timetable. Now, at this point of time, I believe if you, as a candidate, you have your commitments in life, you might be married, you might be single, you might have children, you might not have children, you might be working, but you have some sort of commitment in life. So it's very difficult for you if I tell you that from next week onwards, 24 hours in a week you have to spend for lectures, 6 hours a day, 4 days a week. You have to go and attend classes, and you're going to be like, when am I going to do that? Because I have my job in the morning, or I work in hospitality in restaurants and pubs, and I have my job in the evening. So when can I study? 6 hours is a bit too much. So good news for candidates like that. The lectures are just 2 hours a day and 2 days a week. That's it. So you can have the flexibility of taking out time and attending classes and lectures and stuff. And slowly and steadily, you can try to make a transition from your current lifestyle to try to pursue a path of an academic career. We also have an excellent support staff. For instance, if you become a student at London School of Commerce, and at any point of time, if the teachers that are teaching in the classroom, you cannot understand them, it could be because the teachers are talking too fast. It could be the teachers are not very nice to you when you ask silly question, and they feel it's silly, but no question is ever silly, you know. So if you try to ask a question, and so it could be anything. I'm not saying that the teachers are bad, but it could be a communication, or you feel differently. So if that is the case, we have something called as teaching assistant service. So after your lectures are over, you can get in touch with me or with Hugo and let me know that you need a special teaching assistance. And we're not going to charge you anything extra. The university doesn't charge you anything extra, and we can organize extra classes for free for you, one-to-one. You can sit down with the teaching assistant and discuss that this is the assignment which we got. I don't know how to do it. This is the research I'm supposed to do, but I don't know how to do it. I have prepared something. Can you just check it for me if I've done it right or wrong? So your teaching assistant will help you specifically to you, not like making you sit again in a class of 50 students. It's like one-to-one. So that's something which is amazing. And if I had that, I think everybody can reap benefits. We also have a variety of ranges of age group, different backgrounds of students in the class. We have students coming from different ethnicity. Like we have British passport holding Indians. We'll have people from Latin America. We have people from Africa. We have people from the UK, born and brought in the UK. We have a lot of Europeans. We have Spanish. We have Romanians. We have French people. So we have like a very good mix in the class. Potentially, when you get into the class, you're going to make friends from 10 different countries from the same seat that you're sitting, and that is something which is powerful. It's going to give you an immense network. So in the future, if you have a business idea that I want to start a restaurant, you might be lucky sitting next to a student from Italy who happens to be a pizza chef. You might be sitting next to another guy from Romania who is working as a restaurant manager in a central London based restaurant. So you have your team ready. So the idea is to have a good network, and we have people from different backgrounds. We also have people from different age groups. We might have 21-year-old sitting in the class. We might have a 54-year-old sitting in the class. So you can learn the wisdom from the elderly person, and you can get the confidence of the young person and start your own entrepreneurship if you wish to. So all sort of resources are they at you, towards you, at your expense. You can pick and choose and design your career from there on. We also have a dedicated library where you could go and you could just sit down, because if you're living in a shared house, like in London and Manchester or in Birmingham, not everybody has the vanity of having their own one-bedroom flat or a studio apartment. People share houses, right? Sometimes it might be a bit difficult for you because maybe the next door neighbor is playing music at a very loud volume, and you might be stressed out and stuff. So we have a library. You can sit down in the library and you can study. We also have access to about 70,000 different study materials. So when you become student, you will have access to Mandalay or different sort of online web portals where the journals are going to be available to you for free, which normally you have to pay for, where the ebooks are available to you for free, where you have to pay to download an ebook and read an ebook, even from Google Scholars, so you will have all sort of resources available to you. And this is the USP, that unanimously, if you think of it, the environment favors and supports the student to help them grow in every aspect of life. Now, specifically for people who are living in Manchester and Birmingham, if you are aware of it or not, I'm not 100% certain, but these are the addresses of both the campuses. The Birmingham campus is based in McLaren Building, which is around Queensway in Birmingham, and it is approximately, I would say, about 8-9 minute walk from the main street called Birmingham New Street. We also have a Birmingham Snow Hill station. So from both the stations, no matter where you live in Birmingham, from both this or Coventry or Aston or Warwick, you can always come to these stations, which is going to be a short commute for you. And then you could just walk from there about 7 to 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on how fast you walk. Like I walk faster. So I take way less than 10 minutes. I possibly take about 6 minutes odd, but yeah, but 10 minutes is an average time as for Google. So that's where you go. With regards to Manchester campus, that's even closer. If you've heard of it, like the biggest train station in Manchester is Manchester Piccadilly Station, and the campus is barely 3 minute walk from there. So by the time you just come out of the train station, it's even before you realize you're there at the campus. So the connectivity is very good. And for those of you who drive, we have the postcodes written in front of us, so you could map your journey and you could try to figure out. But the commitment, as I said, is only 2 hours a day. So it's not too much of a commitment. That's about the campuses. Now, for everybody who is trying to become students, let's say if you have made up your mind that my life is stuck and I'm working as a chef or as a waiter or as a cleaner or as an Uber driver, and I don't want to do this. I want to change my life. Now, for you to change your life, the best investment that my father told me was that rather than trying to save money and investing in stocks and shares and this and that, you should be investing in education. Because if you have a good degree, then rather than earning 10 or 15,000 pounds a year, just with the bachelor's, you can earn up to 40 to 50,000 pounds. So that no investment is going to give you profit like that. Not even your Bitcoin, So education is very important. So if you decide to change your life, your first step of the process would be to provide the documents, the right set of documents to GlobalStudies. Now, these are the documents which you can see in front of me right now. You need to provide a copy of your passport. Just make sure all the four corners of the passport data page are visible, because at the bottom of the passport, you have a machine readable data. At the top of the passport, you've got passport number. So if you have your finger or something, then the information is getting blocked. So that is the reason, the university might go back and forth with you. The documents are not fine. The documents are not proper. So passport with all the four corners visible, just the data page. For students who do not have a British passport and you are a European national, the Spanish or our Swedish, Norwegians, and Swiss passport holders, and French, Romanians, we require your EU share code. Now, when you're trying to generate your EU share code, you have to make sure that the share code is getting generated not for work, but for something else. So there would be an option to generate a share code. Option 1 is for work. Option 2 is for renting the property or whatever you want to give it to your renter. And option 3 would be for other purposes. So select the other purposes, generate the share code, and take a screenshot. Send that the screenshot of that share code to GlobalStudies. That's the second document. Your document number 3 is your latest proof of address. The acceptable or the admissible proof of addresses are your bank statement. Now, the university doesn't really care about the bank balance you have. You might have an overdrafted account, minus five quid. Doesn't matter or doesn't make a difference. What the university is trying to figure out is that you live on a particular address, which is about 1 to 1 hour, 15 minutes away from the campus. The reason being, a lot of times, people live in Scotland, people live in Edinburgh, people live in Glasgow, Inverness, and they potentially don't have schools and colleges around them. I mean, they have it, but they just couldn't research it, or they couldn't Google, they couldn't find them. And they tend to come to a campus in Manchester. Now, the desire is right. They want to study. Desire is perfectly right. But then they realize later on that it is financially not feasible for them. They are spending about 50 pounds odd to just come to attend one lecture. And at this stage, After a couple of weeks or a couple of months, students tend to give up on their studies because it's way too much money going out of their pockets. And that is the reason the universities have a policy that they don't want anybody living more than 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes from the campus location. So the universities want to see that. And especially when you apply for student finance loans, universities also get audited, colleges also get audited. So for example, if you happen to be a student living in Scotland who became a student in Manchester and your attendance failed and the university had to withdraw you from the course, then the Student Finance England would ask questions to the college and the university that, what were you thinking as a university? Why would you take a student living in Edinburgh for a Manchester campus? So a lot of trial and error and the auditing and everything and the policy guidelines have come from Student Finance England. And that is why proof of address is very important. You could provide a copy of your latest utility bill, like electricity bill. You could provide a copy of your water bill. You could a utility bill, or a bank statement. Another proof of address which is admissible is your driver's license, the front and back of your DVLA. So you could provide that as well. It is acceptable. Now, other than this, the document number 4 is a personal statement for the course. Now, when you're writing a personal statement, it's like writing a letter to the university to tell them, why have you chosen certificate of higher education, especially in business or health and social care? What is your idea? What is your dream in life? The university wants to see the name of the course. They want to see the name of the university. They want to hear a little bit about your background, like how did you come up with this idea to study business or health and social care? And everything has to make sense. For example, you cannot apply to study a business course and say that you want to start an automobile company or an airline manufacturing company. Of course, you could study that as well. I mean, there's no problem for you to study business if you want to start an airline manufacturing business. But then the university would try to question you and interview you and look at your background. So if your background is something that you have aeronautical engineering and now you want to study MBA, makes sense because you know how to make planes, you know how to, you know, work with the engines and motors and what is required. You know the technical aspect of things, and now you're learning the business aspect of things, and that's why you want to start a business and approaching a business study. Admissible, fine, okay, no, not a problem. But if you don't have a background of ever working for a car repairing, or you don't know more than 3 buttons of a car, and then you say you want to start a car manufacturing business, question, how could you do that? So that's the reason your personal statement is a letter to the university, and you're trying to explain and express the rationality of why you have chosen this course and how this course is going to help you in the future. So everything should make sense. Along with it, you need to provide your latest CV or your resume or biodata, whatever you call it. In your CV, you need to provide all sort of work that you've been doing. So a tentative example would be you provide your work, the job profile. You can say that I worked as a customer service executive. You have to write the name of the company. It could be Zara, and you can write the month and the year you started working and the month and the year you stopped working. So you're going to be like customer service executive, Zara, started from Feb 2021 and until March 2024, and write 2 or 3 bullet points. What did you do? I was in charge for asset management. I was in charge for managing a team in Zara. I was in charge in customer facing and arguments or any sort of questions the customers had for me to clear their doubts. So you can write a little bit about what you did. So you can write about the job role, the company, from and when did until when you work, a little bit about your job. So like this, you're providing your CV. Now, bear in mind, people who have education, like if you have a bachelor or baccalaureate or a GCSEs A level, if you have education and you're coming to certificate of higher education, it's not really a very big issue. But if you're trying to apply on the basis of your work experience and you don't have any education, then your CV becomes a very important document. So you have to demonstrate on the CV at least 5 to 6 years work experience without a lot of gaps in the CV, you know, and things have to make sense. So the university can give you some credits for working for 5 years rather than having a baccalaureate. It's fine. You will get an opportunity to go and present an interview. You will get an opportunity to prove your case, and if your interviews go fine and you sound like a mature person who knows what they're talking about, have a very clear idea about the career, the future, of course you're going to pass the interview. So it is very important, the CV, and even the education. If you have the education, please provide it. We do not need the translations. So we do not need the translation of your baccalaureate or your bachelier. Just provide the original document. The British universities have something called as a NARIC equivalence. That's what they check. And we know, as a part of the school, college, universities, we know that a bachelier from Ecuador would be equal to a GCSE in the UK or an A level in the UK, depending on the subjects you pass. So we know most of the things. So as far as we see the diploma with bachelier written on it or baccalaureate written on it, we are happy. We do not need the translation, so don't worry about it. But provide education. If you have education, we need a picture of that. And with regards to students who have got EU settlement in the UK, all of you must have got an email from the Home Office. The day you got EU settled or EU pre-settled, you get an email from Home Office, and the email mentions that your status in the UK at the moment is pre-settled, which expires in the next 5 years, or your status is settled, which is an indefinite leave to remain. So we need a letter like that, just to make sure that immigration-wise there is absolutely no problem. Students who are on pre-settled, you need to provide a little bit more documents compared to everybody else, because your status in the UK is not completely settled as of now. You are not a British national. People who are settled can apply for British passports whenever they want. But your status at the moment is something that you're still on a visa, kind of. So that is the reason you need to prove that you are a tax-paying citizen of the UK. Because when you apply for student finance loan, you're going to get the money from the taxpayers, like myself. So if a taxpayer's money is going to a foreign national who's not a British passport holder, at least that foreign national should be indefinite leave to remain. If the foreign national is not an indefinite leave to remain, then at least they should be contributing towards the British economy. You should also be paying taxes, and that's why the requirement for loan application and even for the university is the last 6 months of pay slips. You can't be unemployed, EU pre-settled, and applying for the loan and getting it. Of course, you will qualify to get a tuition fee regardless, because of the EU policies after the Brexit, but you're not going to get an important aspect called maintenance money. So maintenance money is the money that goes to your bank account, and the tuition fee goes from the student finance directly to the university or college. So if you're happy only with the tuition fee going through student finance and you do not want maintenance money, we do not really need 6-month pay slips and this and that. It's okay. You can apply. Not an issue. But if you feel that you might need some maintenance money in your bank account, 10,000, 15,000, 13,000, depending on your situation, you must be working and provide 6 months of a pay slip to us. Now, what courses can you study at this point of time? So in Jan intake 2026 at Manchester and Birmingham campus, both the campuses, we have a certificate of higher education in business studies. It's a 2-year course, and we also have a certificate of higher education in health and social care, which is also a 2-year program. So you could study those two, and and after you finish them, you have a level 4, and you could progress to second year of bachelor's wherever you wish to. Now, this is a brief insight on the admission process. Now, the step 1 of the process is a verification process where when you provide all your documents to GlobalStudies, they're going to create your profile in LSC's internal CRM. Now, when they create your profile, you will have to provide your phone number and your email. When you provide your phone number and email, GlobalStudies will send you a verification link via LSC, of course. So you will get a link on your phone and you will get a link on your email. You have to click on that link on your phone, and you have to just click on that link on the email. Now, this is because a lot of times, you might have provided your documents to Global Studies. You might have provided your documents to a friend called Tommy. You could have provided your documents to another girl called Stephanie, and you don't know who provided the document to LSE first. And at the same time, you might not have given the consent to everybody. So this is the act of getting the consent from you, that you are verifying your phone and you're verifying your email, the links which are sent to you via Global Studies, that you want to become a student at LSE. You are also serious about studying, and nobody is just uploading 500 documents into the university portal. You are serious as well. So you have to click on both the links and verify yourself that I'm also serious about studying. With regards to documentation, I've already mentioned you need to provide all the documents. The better the documentation, the easier the admission process. Otherwise, what happens is the interviewers don't make a decision. Sometimes they hold the whole file. The CV information is incorrect. The CV mentions that you're working right now, but during the interview, you said you're unemployed. The interviewer will hold the whole application for you. The CV mentions that, or the personal statement mentions that you want to apply to study at University of Toronto in Canada, and you're not applying for that university. So the interviewer will just hold the whole application. And when the application gets held, normally it takes about 4 or 5 days, working days, to get the application unfreeze that we have uploaded the documents. Now, in the start of an intake, those 4 or 5 days are not going to hurt you as much. But if your documentation is getting done last 1 week or last 2 weeks of the intake, like you have a missing document, or you did not upload a proper personal statement, and the deadline is on 15th of Jan, and your file of the interview and your file was uploaded on 12th of Jan, and there was a mistake in the documentation process, you might miss the intake, because the interview is not going to change things, and during the end, he's very paranoid, very busy working, right? So my advice is always, like, request a list of documents from Global Studies. They'll give you the list of documents required. Provide them with the perfect set of documentation, so it's not a ping pong thing that, oh, passport is missing, you give the passport, and your education is also missing, now you give education. Your CV is not accurate, you give CV as well. So try to make sure the documentation is perfect at the first point itself. We also have the interview process. Now, interview process is designed into 3 different stages. The first one is going to be a face-to-face interview. During this process, the interviewer will ask you questions like, which course are you applying to study? Which university are you applying to study? I have personally been an interviewer myself, and I have interviewed people who have no idea about the name of the course. They have no idea about the name of the university. Some students have told me that they want to start their own data processing center after they finish the bachelor's in business studies or certificate of higher education. So I tend to ask them, what do you mean by data processing center? Can you highlight a little bit about that? And they're freaked out. They have no idea. Then I said, do you know what is a data processing center? And the student doesn't know. So despite the student's English being immaculate, the student's personality being very good, very humble, nice people, documentation were perfect, I still had to fail the candidate. So it is important what is written on your personal statement, because the interviewer is reading it before coming to interview you. The interviewer already knows your CV, your personal statement, and if you've written something on your personal statement and CV which you don't know about, or someone has helped you, you will fail. So all this documentation, verification, hard work, everything goes into vain. So please be careful about your documentation. Very, very important. Interview, you can take some sort of an advice from Global Studies. They'll try to give you some sort of a question, a tentative answer that you should be giving. Maybe you could practice a session with Global Studies. If you wish, you could practice a session with me too. And we could try to do some mock interview question and answers. However, this still doesn't guarantee that if I ask you question A, B, and C during the interview, you will be asked only A, B, and C. You might be asked D, E, F, and G. We never know. But we will try to give you our expertise. We'll try to help you, guide you, because the whole process can bring a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. So it is understandable. Every student goes through that. Okay, so don't worry about it. We are there to help you. After the face-to-face interview, there is a process which is called as a English test. Now, the English test is done via Oxford Placement Test. So the test is very simply designed to check your English skills, because sometimes people can speak in English. So your interview, you passed it. But when it comes to writing, you can't write 5 words without making a mistake. So the university wants to check it, that you grammatically you are sound, you listen to English and you understand it, you talk and you understand it, you read and you understand it. So that's the Oxford Placement Test. Usually for international students living in Ecuador, Colombia, when they want to apply for British universities from overseas, you need to have IELTS with a B2 level of English or 5.5 band. But the interview process over here with the English test, you need to provide a B1, because you're joining the foundation level. So your English must be at the B1 level, which is 5.0 IELTS, which I presume most of the students have. Very rarely our students fail, unless they don't train or don't prepare for it at all. So no matter how good you feel your English is, my advice is always try to do 1 or 2 practice sessions, prepare online before you go for the main test. This is also followed by a writing test. The writing test, you get about 40 minutes. The question is going to be something related to describe how you have handled a tough situation at work, or write something about yourself, write something about your background, write something about what you want to do in life and how did you come up with that idea. So it's a very open-ended, simple question, where you can write with your emotions. The reason the university is trying to see is, can you write 250, 300 words in 45 minutes? Because foundation year, you're not going to have any writing exams possibly, but when you pass the foundation year and you move to certificate of higher education, you will have one written exam. So if you can't even write English, how are you going to pass an exam, right? So that is the reason the English test, the interview, and the writing test is conducted. You tick all the 3 boxes, voila, you preferred or you cleared the interview process. Now, as soon as the interview process is cleared, now everything is about documentation. Like you have to apply for a student finance loan. GlobalStudies can help you out with that. Or I have some sort of a write-up and I can share it with you. Or intake by intake, we have different information. So it is always advisable that no matter how nicely you think that you know the system, please try to take some sort of a support from GlobalStudies. To the best of my knowledge, they don't charge you anything, for student loans and stuff like that. So they'll help you out. So if a service is available for free and you're not taking it, it's a problem, right? So try to take an expert advice, especially when it's available to you. Now, the process after the interview is you have to apply, or you have to do something called as a fee assessment. So there is a fee assessment form, which GlobalStudies can help you out with. In the form, it's a very simple information. They are checking your immigration stuff. They're checking out, are you a UK national? Are you going to pay the tuition fee by yourself or someone else is paying for you? And what sort of documents are you providing to prove that you are a UK national? You can just tick. There are 6 documents over there. You just got to tick. I'm giving a passport. Sign, date, done. Now, for people who do not have a printer at home, you can always go online and type, generate a digital signature. And there would be different kind of notepads and stuff which would be available to you. For example, I could just go here and I could go generate a digital signature, right? And you can just go to any of these non-sponsored sites, for example, like here on Signaturely, and you just go and you draw, and you are here, and there you go, you draw, and then you just download the signature. So it's done. So you could generate a signature like that rather than uploading a picture from a passport or something like that, because then it looks like you never signed it, right? So generate a signature, fill up your fee assessment, sign it, and submit that document. Once that is done, you also have to do an online data capture, because you're going to study in a partner school of London School of Commerce, but your main university is Suffolk. So Suffolk must also have information for you. So you will be sent a link for data capture. You got to click on it. You got to create your password, log in, and you have to fill up your basic information, whatever they ask for. It doesn't really take more than 5 minutes. uh, Once your fee assessment is done, data capture is done, you will get an offer letter from the university that, we are offering your place. So you just have to log in to the same login of data capture or something and manage your application and accept the offer. Once the offer is accepted, you will have to enroll with the university again from the same portal from the university then, and LSC will call you into the school, and they'll take your picture, they'll print an ID card, they'll prepare a timetable for you and give it to you. um, Now, let's take a deep dive, because this process of loan and registration can sound a bit confusing because there's a lot of paperwork, right? So I've broken it down again for further 4 steps. So the step one, after your interview, after you pass an interview, apply for the loan straight away. Do not waste time, because the loan approval takes about 4 to 6 weeks as well. So you hear a positive news that you passed an interview, apply for the loan within the same week, as quickly as possible, rather. Once that is done, you will, because you passed an interview, you will get a link for the data capture in your email. So uh, my advice would be that all sort of correspondence in the emails that you're getting throughout the process, keep emailing, keep forwarding everything to Global Studies. Like, hey, I've got an email from Suffolk today, forward to Global Studies, and they can try to be like, okay, over here you have to do the data capture. So yes, Esteban, you got to click on that link, use that ID, use that password, and just fill up your basic information. Job done. Once that is done, wait for 2 or 3 days, you can log in again and you will have an offer. You just have to click on I accept the offer. It's just a checkbox. Click on it and accept the offer. Job done. Once offer letter is accepted, the university will open an enrollment for you. So you have to again log into the same link that you use for data capture, for offer acceptance, the same link, and you go over there and it'll show you that complete your enrollment. Click on it, complete your enrollment. So the thing is that after you finish your interview, do the data capture, and every 3 days, 2 days, 3 days, keep checking, just like what's happening. It's like you're trying to see if an interviewer or an examiner, if they have made that decision. As soon as they make that decision, you will have an update on the system. And once you have an update on the system, you just accept it, or you just enroll, or you do the data capture. Once everything is done with the university, uh, LSC will also get in touch with you and invite you to to come physically to the campus. They'll take a picture of you and they'll print your student ID card on the same day. They will also give you a timetable that, from this point on, you have lectures on every Mondays and Tuesdays, 10 a.m. to 12 in the afternoon, or 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., or whatever the situation is. We need to confirm about the evening classes, but please get in touch with Global Studies, and I'll try to keep them in the loop as well. At this point of time, I don't know the timetable, so I can't give you an insight on the timetable. But depending on intakes, depending on the numbers of students, depending on the volumes, the universities sometimes tend to run evening classes 6 to 8 p.m. Or if they don't have enough students for 6 to 8 p.m., they don't do that. They run a class 10 to 12, 1 to 3, 2 to 4, something of that sort. So keep in touch with us if at all you feel the timetables are going to be of prime concern for you. But nevertheless, you can always have a word with your employer. You could request, like, this is my timetable for the next 3 months of my life. So can you give me an off for 2 hours from work and I can just go attend my lecture? Usually, employers don't really stop you from growing in life. I mean, very rarely someone would stop you. Like if someone working for me, my administrator, or working for me, and they tell me that they want to educate themselves, and they want 2 hours of, they want to, rather than working 9 to 5, they want to work from whatever 7 to 3. I'll be like, okay, because you're still working the same hours for me, it's just a different slot. I'm cool with it. And usually your employers will agree. So it's just a matter that you have to talk to them and find a way around the timetable. Um, yeah, I mean, everything might sound a bit confusing right now for you, but trust me, uh, once you pass the interview, you will have an email from the university. So my advice is you get an email, forward it to Global Studies because they would know what to do. uh, Once the data capture is done, from that point on, everything is, it's just a matter of checking the update every now and then. So just to let you know, Global Studies is going to check your update every now and then. I will check your update every now and then. You will check your update every now and then. The staff at LSC who is involved into administration process, they will check your update every now and then. So there are like 4 or 5 different people who will keep checking about you. So you are always protected. So don't worry if you drop the ball and oh my God, what to do? I mean, there are 4 different people who are living in 4 different parts who are trying to help you to cross you over the line. So for you as a student, your job one is decide you want to study, make up your mind you want to study, and send the documents to Global Studies at any point of time. I mean, at the earliest. Yeah, and along with this, if you have any questions, I am open to every question or answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishal.
Yep.
Thank you. And well, there is a question. It is referred to if studying with LSC in Manchester and Birmingham can open opportunities for networking or internships, maybe.
Yes, we do have. I mean, it is. I mean, we don't inform the students because we don't want to make a commitment and then backtrack on our commitment. But usually, what happens is like if I have students, we tend to hire a lot of students internally in LSE itself. There are a lot of cases where we hired the students. Me myself, I used to study at LSE 15 years ago, and I was hired internally. Along with it, a lot of students. We have student ambassador program, and of course, there could be a lot of people out there. Like I recently just hired someone. She used to work as a cleaner, but when I spoke to her, her English is amazing, and she also had a 2-1 in her bachelor's. So she's a first class student, and she's still working as a cleaner because she doesn't know how to apply for a job. So when I spoke to her, I invited her for an interview. She came over, she gave an interview. I liked her, one of the line managers liked her, and we offered her a position. Similarly, if at all, everybody has our network. Like I have my network. I'm pretty much sure you have your network. And if we have a student who is a good student, shows a good caliber, a good quality, and then they come and ask you like, Hugo, I'm looking for a job, I'm sure you will also try to help them, right? And so the same goes on for me. Like I have people who are working in IT, I have people in business, I have people in working for NHS. So if a third class student comes to me and asks me for a job, how do I help them? But if there is a student that got a distinction and 100% attendance, is very humble, very nicely talking, I will also try to help them. So we help in capacity of a single entity, and we also help the students to hire them within LSE group. I mean, funny enough, like we also have campuses. We have campus in Malta, we have a campus in Armenia, we have a campus in India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. So we have students, if at all, that they don't want to, they're fed up of the UK, they want to move to Europe again, Malta, whatever. We have literally hired people who are our students in London, and they got a job in the Malta campus because they were just tired of London. So things can happen internally quite a lot. And ideally, I mean, if these are our students, then I'm pretty much sure it's yours and Karen's baby. The student is my baby too, right? Because we are helping them. So if we find people with caliber, of course, we'll help them. Yeah, we will help.
Thank you, Vishal. And as you said, all the previous experience, the work experience you have is really important for LSC. So don't forget to mention all that in your CV, as Vishal mentioned, and open now opportunities for you. Contact Global Studies, and we are really happy to help you with all the application process. Vishal will be helping us to make this possible, that you can start studying in Manchester, in Birmingham, with LSE. Don't forget, contact us today and start your dream today with us. Vishal, thank you. Really, thank you for all this time that you gave us and all the explanation that you gave us about the process that students have to do. And don't forget, as Vishal told you, we are here as Global Studies to help you with all this process. Thank you, Vishal, for this information, and I hope we will be with you in another live stream again.
Thank you for having me. And and guys, you guys, all the students, if you have any doubts, it is tough to take the first step. It's always difficult. There's nervousness, anxiety. You could be single mom, you could be dads, you could be parents, but I mean, you have to make this change as quick as possible, because if you sit on this for another year or so, a lot of changes are happening in the UK. I don't know if everybody is reading the news or not, but a lot of things are changing. I mean, there is a political wave of Reform UK and a lot of debatable racism or nationalism. The lines are very thin these days, and it seems like a lot of you who are European nationals, you have an opportunity right now to study with the student finance, but you might not have the same opportunity 6 months down the line. So if you snooze and you sleep on this opportunity right now, 6 months from today, it is going to be so difficult for you to even dream about studying in the UK, because the education right now that you are going to apply, just to let you know, the tuition fee is about £9,500 a year. For you to complete a bachelor's, you must have a £38,000 kitty in your bank. So working as a cleaner, working as an Uber driver, working as a waiter, you will not have this opportunity again if you miss this bus right now. And just to put it out there, I know, and I've seen things changing in the last 15 years, and I've spoken to people who have been students, my seniors who are 50 years old at the moment, and they tell me that about 35 years ago, if you studied in the UK, the government will also, and you were renting an apartment or a room, the government will give you a 1-bedroom flat because you're a student. If you have a child, the government will give you a 2-bedroom flat, one for you and your missus and one for your child, because the government wants you to study. They want you to educate yourself. And I'm just talking 30 years ago. Even 5 years ago, the repayment of the loans were 27,500. Not even 5, I would say 4 years ago. Now they brought the repayment down, and people used to get 18,000, 20,000. I've seen someone getting 35,000 because she was a single mother of a Somali lady, single mother of 6 children or something, and she got 35K. And now I see that everybody, no matter how strong people have the caliber, they are struggling to get their loans approved as well. I mean, I have pre-settled students who are under the age of 25, and the student finance is asking them approve how their parents are not sponsoring them, because they're under 25. How can you not have money? Prove us that you don't have money. A 25-year-old, a waiter, of course he doesn't have 9,500, but the government wants to prove. So things are getting difficult and tighter and tighter. This is a wonderful opportunity. Trust me, if you miss this bus, you might end up being a cleaner for the next 10 years of your life, and your children are seeing you. What example are you setting in front of them? You need to prove that, your children have to take pride. My dad, my mom they have business degree, they're master's degree holders, they're bachelor's degree holders, they work as a data scientist, they work as a business developer for Microsoft. I mean, make yourself proud and your family proud. And it is a very easy process. It might sound complicated, but you got to do this. You got to do this for your family, for your children. You have this. I mean, yeah. Thank you for taking your time and listening to me and Hugo. Thank you.
No, thank you, Vishal, and that is true. This is a good moment to start your studies. Do it now. Don't wait for changes in the politics. So this is the right moment. Contact us, contact Global Studies, and we will help you with this process. Thank you, Vishal, again. Thank you, everybody who was with us today, and we will be again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.